Hello folks, and welcome to a video about Python. Today I'm going to teach you about outputs and variables. Two important words there, so outputs and also variables. Okay, but the first thing we're going to learn about today is an output. So you use a computer every single day of your life probably. I know I do. And the computer sends me lots of interesting information. It sends me sounds, it sends me text, sends me images. And these things are what we call outputs. Now when you learn to code for the first time, especially in something like Python, you want to get to the basics of how coding works, the logic behind it. So the vast majority of the time when you start out, your outputs are just going to be text. Text displayed on the screen from the program to show the result of something it's done, or to show you what's happening inside the program, what its thinking is basically. In order to do this, we need to use a command called print, like that. But it would be simple if we just said the word print and then whatever we wanted to output. We need a little bit more than that, just so the computer knows exactly what's going on. And in order to do that, we use brackets. So we put a bracket straight after the T and straight after the other bracket. So far so good. If I wanted to run this now, nothing's happening here. Absolutely nothing's being output. And that's a little bit annoying. So we need to give it a little message. Now I could write hello world. And that's often what people do for their first computer program. They write the words hello world and they output them to the screen. Let's see what happens when we do this. Nothing. It's actually said invalid syntax, saying there's an error. Now syntax is a little word which means how well you've written it for the programming language. So the rules of the programming language, you've got to follow certain rules. And somewhere in my code here where I've said print and then hello world, I've missed something or I've not followed a rule. I know what rule I've not followed, but I just want to introduce you to that idea. The error can be fixed really simply by putting speech marks around the text. Now we've told Python that we're printing. That means to output. I don't know why they never use the word output, but they've chose print, which can confuse you when you start out because you think, hey, a printer's a big machine that spits paper out with stuff on it. No, printing actually means sending it to the screen, printing text onto the screen. We need brackets after the word print. And whatever we put inside those brackets then will be what's printed to the screen. And I've used speech marks around my text. And now it's happy with that. It's accepting that. And I could change that hello world to anything. I could say the word biscuits for all I care. Yeah. Or I could say, I don't know, howdy. It really doesn't matter. Okay, so that's actually working really, really well. Now, I want to move on to another concept called variables. Now, if I say VR1, I'm just going to say VR1, and I'm going to say alright, so I've got VAR1 and I put a comma after the word howdy and I write VAR1 there. The output will now be howdy there folks. So what we've done here with a variable is we've created something that stores text inside of it, stores information inside of it, because we can actually put numbers in them as well, but we're just going to focus on text today. So VAR1, what that really is a part of the computer's memory, a little memory block inside the computer that I've given the label VAR1 to. So I've got Python to look at the computer and tell the computer, look, we're going to use a bit of the memory. Okay. I'm then placing this value inside of that bit of memory. So we've got a bit of computer's memory. Imagine there's millions and millions and millions of little blocks of memory. We've taken one and Python has found one and labeled it VAR1 for us. So we're using that. And then I'm placing this text inside of it. On the next line then, when I print howdy followed by var1, what the computer's actually doing is it's going back into its memory, finding that little block that Python's called var1, fishing out the content, which happens to be this text, and then displaying it instead of the word var1. Again, there you see. It's done that, hasn't it? Howdy there, folks. Furthermore, the process of actually storing the data inside of the variable, remember the variable is a little block of computer's memory, the process by which we store that data, or that text in this case, is called assignment. I have assigned this text to this variable. Okay, so that's how variables work. And as you can see, we've output some text and the content of a variable. Well, let's have a think for a couple of minutes about what these things mean. And once you're done, I'm going to move on. And I've got the next little program here as a demonstration for you. This time, I've actually structured my program. I've got a section in my program for my global variables. Don't worry about the word global for now. You'll learn about that as you go through the course, but we always write it global variables. I've also got my main program. Now this time, what I'd like to do is I'd like to output. Remember, to output we need to use print. I'd like to output a message saying, I live in Cranbrook, which is in Devon. So let's have a think about from what we saw previously. We need to print, we need brackets, we need some text, and then maybe the content of a variable. Skipped over that bit there. With commas, separating the bits out. So what we're going to do is we're going to write print, speech marks obviously, I live in, I'm going to put a comma after those speech marks. I'm going to write town, because that already contains the word Cranbrook in it, comma. Now I'm going to do some speech marks, which is in, and this time I'm going to write county. So have a little think to yourself there. What will be output by this program? For me writing this, I've got the names of two variables. I'm also generating things with AI that I don't want. I've got two variables being used. They're in the white text. I've got just some standard text. We know it's got the speech marks. When I put all of this together, what do you think the output would be? Have a think to yourself. Maybe pause it if you want to think. And then I'm going to press play. I live in Cranbrook, which is in Devon. As you can see, town has had the value Cranbrook assigned to it. County has had the value Devon assigned to it. So when we output this information, it says I live in, town, that's the name of a variable. Let's go and look at that. We can remember that is a label for a little block of memory in the computer. We go find it and we replace this with whatever's inside that variable, whatever's inside that bit of memory in the computer. Then we say which is in. There's a variable name again. Let's go to the computer's memory. Let's go and get that bit of information that's inside of it. And let's display it there. And that is how we use outputs and variables. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, on Destination Code, on the website, you've got a practice activity to do and then a make activity. Good luck and enjoy learning the wonders of Python.